What is going on, guys? It is your boy King Scourge, and tonight we're going to be doing another Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile. I have been getting some more expensive cards and stuff. We're going to be doing my my Elbaz, or sorry, my Despia branded deck profile. Before we get started, I do have to let you guys know that I do have some of the Bestial stuff, and I've been play testing and stuff. And I'm trying to get some replays. I have a bunch of other videos with Sonic and this, that, and it's been... I apologize for it being absolutely chaotic the last couple of months. You know, recent deaths in the family and other things. But if you guys haven't already, be sure to check out my Draco Slayer deck profile and some of my other deck profiles, as I will try my best to kind of mix and match videos and stuff. But without further ado, let's get started with deck profile, guys. So, this deck profile is going to be pretty standard to a lot of the builds. The cool thing about their Despia and Elbaz and stuff, it's kind of like a wild card in between decks. There's so many different ways you can build it. I mean, it's insane. Like, the fusions are all relatively generic. I mean, it's just a great, really fun budget deck to play, especially with reprints and stuff. The Bestials might be a little bit more challenging to get, and I do have a planned Bestial deck profile that hopefully should be coming up. But for right now, let's get into it. So my build, we're gonna start out with the 3-ups. I play 3 Tri-Brigade Mercurier. I've seen people play 1, I've seen people play 2, and I've seen people play 3. This card has 2 effects. First of all, if your opponent activates a monster effect while you control a fusion monster that mentions specifically fallen to Elbaz, you can send it from your hand to the graveyard to negate that effect. So it's a monster negate and it's a hand trap. Also, it does have another effect which does come up once in a while, quite a bit actually. If it's banished, you can add 1 to your graveyard, deck to your hand, 1 fallen to Elbaz, or 1 monster that mentions it. So you can only use each effect once per turn, so you could banish it off a lure and still have a copy in your hand, banish that, and then go off. It's pretty good. Again, that's completely up to you whether you want to run 1, 2, or 3. I've tried all 3 variants, and it's just a really good card. In my opinion, it's pretty good. Next, we run 3 Edge Imp Chain, because Edge Imp Chain, for those of you who don't know, searches Patchwork. Patchwork gets you a Polymerization. That's the only reason why it's there, and it's a good dark target to go into Lobelian and do plays. Next, for the Despias, it's pretty standard. 3 Allure, Jester Despia. When this card is normal or special summon, you can search add a branded trap, spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Also, if a fusion monster is you control is through a battle or leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, you can special summon. You can target 1 effect monster your opponent controls, negate that effect, and if you do special summon this card, you can only use each effect once per turn. And you special summon it from your graveyard if you use that second effect. So it's very good. It's one of your play starters. You need to play 3 of this, and it isn't. Funny quick side story. I actually pulled an ulti of this yesterday at my locals, which is the first time I pulled an ultimate rare in like 2 years. I'm not kidding. Not because I don't win. It's just, you know, it's OTS packs are hard to pull ultis out. I just have Orbital Lock. So next, again, a lot of people play 2, but for this deck, because this is more kind of a fusion build, and this is my build that's really fun, I play 3 Despian Tragedy. You can bump it down to 2 if you'd like. Basically, if it's sent to the graveyard or banished by a card effect, so you're usually going to fusion summon it, you can basically add 1 Despia monster from your deck to your hand. It searches except for itself. Then you can banish it from your grave, target 1 branded spell or trap in your grave, and set it to your field. You can only use each effect once per turn, but you're going to be using that first effect to search a branded or to, yeah. I'm talking like an idiot. I need to slow down. Sorry. You're going to be using the first effect to search when it's used, because it's going to be often dumped or used for fusion summons. So, second effect doesn't really come up, but it has come up in the times I've been playing this deck. Next, for the 2-ofs, we only play 2 Fallen Albaz. Now, I do play a funky tech that was still popular. It kind of fell out of popularity, but I only play 2 Fallen Albaz. You really only need 2. You don't want to play 3. In certain builds, you can play 3, but and in this build, we technically play 3, and I'll explain later. But there's with that secret tech that, well, it's not a tech, but it's a spicy tech that you can do to be funny. And this is basically a weaker version of Super Poly. When it's summoned, you can pitch a card and fusion summon using monsters from either player's field, including this card, as fusion material. Next, I only play one Ab Libitum of Despia. This card basically says, during your main phase, you can make all monsters your opponent currently controls lose attack equal to their own level times 100 until the end of the opponent's turn. And if it's sent to a fusion material, you can target a fusion monster, level 8 or higher fusion monster that is banished in your graveyard except for Ad Libitum Despia and special summon it. You only need 1 of it. And next you play the 1 Dramaturge. Most people with the Bestial stuff are actually cutting this. But if it's sent to the graveyard fusion material, basically you can special summon it. You can special summon this card, and then he's in monster negate. If a fusion synchro XZ or link monster is special summoned to the field, you can target one of those monsters and negate it. Negates effects at the end of the turn. Next, I play the 1 Spriggan's Kit. This also searches a branded spell or trap. And it's a free summon if you control a fusion monster that mentions Fallen Albaz. And then, if it's normal special summon, you can add one of your banished branded spell or traps that is banished in your graveyard. Place 1 card from your hand into the bottom of the deck, and then add that card to your hand. So it's another searcher. You only need 1 of her. I mean, this build is kind of relatively generic, if I'm being honest, but it's really fun. It's like super consistent. Next, I play 1 Albion the Shrouded Dragon. This card is treated as Fallen Albaz while it's on the field or in the graveyard. And then basically you can forgot its effect. So basically you can, if this card's in your hand or graveyard, you can send 1 Fallen Albaz or branded spell or trap from your deck to the graveyard. And if you send it from the hand, you can special summon this card from the hand. And if you send it from the deck, you shuffle this in the deck, and then you can draw 1 card. So you use it for another Albaz target, but you kind of use it for the 1 effect. Next, I play 1 Incredible Ecclesia. Besides being a tuner, which will be relevant once the new Bestial stuff comes out, she's a free special summon if your opponent controls more monsters than you do. And then as a quick effect, you can tribute her, and then you can special summon a Fallen Albaz from deck. So it's really nice. She helps you get to your Fallen Albaz because that's what the deck kind of revolves around. And then during the end phase, if a fusion monster is sent to the graveyard this turn, she can add herself back to the hand. So you play 1 of her, or I play 1 of her, and then I play 1 of her counterpart. I'm pretty sure this card's going to be bumped up to 2 in most builds, but I also play 1 Blazing Cartesia. This card is effing insane. Like, it's Fallen Albaz, but it's better. First of all you have to do is control Fallen Albaz, or it has to be in your graveyard, and you can special summon her. And just like Ecclesia, she has a quick effect. that allows you to fusion summon from using monsters you control from your hand or field, including, she can include herself if she wants, but it's a quick effect fusion. So it's a quick effect polymerization, which is kind of nuts. You thought Elbaz was cracked. No, this literally just lets you fusion summon. You don't even have to use her fusion material. And then during the end phase, if she's sent to the graveyard, you can add this card from your hand, from your graveyard to your hand. So she recycles herself too. If a fusion monster sent to the graveyard, sorry, not if she was sent to the graveyard. And then, of course, my spicy tech. This is what I meant by we were playing essentially a third Fallen Elbaz. I play 1 Hex Sealed Fusion. Now, you may be wondering, well, how is this treated as Fallen Elbaz? Let me read you Hex Sealed Fusion's effect. Okay? It kind of works like King of the Swamp, but first of all, it's a light target, so you send it off of Albion, off of Branded Fusion, and treat it as Fallen Elbaz, because its effect states you can substitute this card for any fusion material whose name is specifically listed on the fusion material of a card. So what you do is you activate Branded Fusion, send this, and you can send Fallen Elbaz, and then you to go into Albion because you use it as a light target. And then Albion's effect, you banish this, and then you can make Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, because you could treat this as a Red Eyes. Or a Dark Magician. You could treat this as the Dark Magician. Which is stupid. So yeah, I play this to go into Dragoon. Which again I'll explain more in the extra deck. But I play this as a 1-of. You don't need 2 or 3. It's just a 1-of. It's insane. It's really funny, and when people started figuring this out, that's when big brain right there. It's dumb. You should not be able to do that, but you can. Okay, let's talk about the spells now. Give me 1 second here. Naturally, since it's a fusion-based deck, I play 3 Super Poly. You could honestly bump this down to 2 if you want. If you wanted to play the one trap card, Branded Banishment, if you want. But 3 Super Poly breaks boards. You kind of need it. And you do have a few Super Poly targets, but it breaks boards. Next, because we like 90% of our deck is dark monsters, except for 3 cards. 3 Allure, draw 2, banish 1, a dark. You're gonna have cards in hand that trigger off being banished. 3 Branded Opening. This card is insane too. You pitch a card, and then you can either take a Despia monster and either add it to your hand, or special summon it. It's your play starter, and then if a fusion monster would be destroyed by a card effect, you can banish it from your graveyard instead. You can banish this card from your graveyard to protect those instead of those monsters being destroyed. It's very good. You need to play 3 of that as well. Next, we play 3 Patchwork. Again, Edge Imp Chain searches Patchwork. Patchwork literally says add Polarization and an Edge Imp. So basically, you dump Edge Imp Chain when it's sent to the graveyard. Edge Imp Chain lets you search Patchwork. Patchwork lets you search a Polarization and a Edge Imp monster. Patchwork is insane as well. Trust me, I should know I play Fluffles as well. And the 3 card that 90% of the time is most likely going to get Ash, but 3 Branded Fusion. This card lets you fusion from deck. I would not be surprised if Konami actually semi-limits or limits this card. I mean, it's absolutely insane. Lets you fusion summon monsters from your deck it lets you fusion summon monsters from your deck. But you have to use Fallen Elbaz as material. So usually you're going to go into Albion, Lubellion. You can go to Mirror Jade. It's so stupid. Another card that is cracked. Well, you play 2 Poly because now you may be thinking, well, why do you only play 2 Poly if you play 3 Patchwork? Well, there's reasons for that. it's for consistency reasons, because you don't really need 3 poly, because you're not going, because Patchwork and Edge and Chain are only once per turn. So if you open up with if you have 2 Patchwork, who really cares? Because you can always use the other one for discard fodder off or something. So it's really not that detrimental, and you have 100 other different ways to fusion summon, so it's really not needed. But you need to play at least 2 polarizations, so that way Patchworks will always be live. And then of course I play 2 Branded in red. This card is another quick play fusion spell. Lets you target a Fallen Albaz or Despia monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand, and then if you do that, you can choose, it's an optional effect, you can fusion summon a monster by banishing monsters from your hand or field as material. So, it's very good. You could probably even bump this down to 1 if you want, but I play 2 in this particular build. Because this deck is literally all fusion. I mean, unfortunately D-Barrier kills this deck, but... So, next for the one-ofs, honestly, we can even take... we play 1 Branded Loss. This card is insane. This basically gives the middle finger to your opponent. Your opponent cannot respond to effects that allow you to fusion summon. So they can't respond... So this card is really nuts. You only need 1 of, but any effect that would let you fusion summon, your opponent can't respond to it. And then if you fusion summon a monster once per turn, you can add 1 Fallen Albaz or 1 monster mentioned from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. And lastly, I play 1 of the Despia field spell. This is another polarization. During your main phase, you can fusion summon 1 level 8 higher fusion monster from your extra deck. And if a non-fairy fusion monster would leave the field by an opponent's card effect, you could target 1 level 8 or higher fusion monster in your graveyard, special summon it. You really don't need this, but I played as a one-of. Again, this deck is really just trying to fusion summon, fusion. I mean, the fusion dimension would be proud from Arc V. So, that's it for the main deck, guys. This extra deck is so versatile, but it's pretty standard for right now. Let me just start off with the Despia monsters, or I play 2 Masquerade, pay to play. Your opponent literally has to pay to play. Okay, your opponent has to pay 600 life points to activate cards or effects. Yeah, while it's fusion summoned, and then it has an effect where, a quick effect where if it's in the graveyard and your opponent controls a fusion synchro XZs, or if there's a fusion synchro XZs or link monster on the field, you can special summon it. And what's funny, Skill Drain cannot negate this. Neither can Super Great or Grave of the Super Ancient Organism. So even this effect will activate under Skill Drain. It's not even, because it's not an effect that activates. It's just a continuous effect. You literally just say to your opponent, "Oh, your opponent tries to kill you. Okay, Dark Ruler, doesn't matter. You still have to pay 600." If you can get 2 of these on the field, that's insane. And it requires 1 Despia monster and 1 light or dark monster. So I play 2 Masquerade. Next, I play the 1 Coritis. This card is pretty cool. It makes any monsters attack, all monsters, quick effect. It's summoned the same way as Masquerade, 1 light or dark monster and 1 Despia monster. During either player's main phase, you can activate this effect, make all monsters attack on the field become 0 except for level 8 or higher fusion monsters. You're going to most likely be summoning Masquerade first, but this is actually pretty nice to have because it helps you beat over your opponent's stuff. Or right before they declare battle phase, you just activate that effect. And then, yeah. You only need 1 of it though. And then I tech this in for 2 cards, but I sometimes play the 1 Despian Proskinian. You can play another card. I have another card option for you if you want, but this extra deck is very interchangeable. which is crazy. But I actually play one Despian Praskinian. Now, this card requires a Despia monster and one light and one dark monster. Now, this card is actually kind of nuts. You can play this in time, but basically during the main phase, you can target a Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or Link monster in your opponent's graveyard. You can either banish it or special summon it to your field. By the way, it does not negate that effect. It did not negate their effects. And you could choose what position that monster special summoned in. Also, when it destroys a monster by battle, it does burn damage. Random burn damage. You can burn monsters. You can burn your opponent equal that monster's attack or defense, whichever was higher. And you can only use each effect once per turn. But yeah, this comes up sometimes. It's funny. If you want to play this in time and be a mad lad, you can, because it does burn in time. I've had it happen. Plus it's 32, it's huge. Next, for the most of the Elbaz stuff, I play 2 Albion. This card lets you fusion summon by banishing monsters from your graveyard or hand or field, anywhere basically. And if it's sent to the graveyard during the end phase, you can set one branded spell or trap from your deck to the field. Most likely, or most times, it's going to be branded in red. Branded in red. You need to play 2 because it doesn't say if it's fusion summoned. Like, literally, you can just send it straight to the grave. Hell, if you really wanted to, you could send it to the graveyard with freaking Mirror Jade and its Albion's effect will still trigger. So it's stupid, but it's great. Next, I play 2 Lubellion. Just like Albion, it lets you fusion summon by pitching a card, but it lets you shuffle monsters from your banish, graveyard, or field into the deck to fusion summon a monster. You could personally bump him down to 1 if you'd like, but I think for this build right now, 2 is perfectly fine. Maxing all the Elbaz stuff. And once the new Elbaz stuff comes out, I'm going to be mixing matching this extra deck. Same with when I get the Bestial deck profile for my Despia Bestial deck profile when I get that going. Hopefully, we should be in a couple of days. Hopefully. And then I play 2 Mirror Jade. Mirror Jade is an extremely powerful monster. First of all, it has a once per turn quick effect non-target banish. You have to send a monster that lists following the Albaz from your deck to the graveyard, extra deck to the graveyard though. And then its effect can't be used the next turn. But this is a soft once per turn to banish it, so if you manage to get 2 of them out on the field, they can each use their effects once per turn. And then if your opponent kills this somehow, or runs over in battle, or destroys a bad opponent's card effect, your opponent basically has until the end of their turn, because this will literally Raigeki your opponent's field during the end phase. It's stupid. Oh, if they don't kill you, you basically kind of laugh, unless they called Brian or whatever, but it's just like, oh, nice board. Mirror Jade effect during end phase. All your monsters die. Smile. Unless they can't, But 2 Mirror Jade. And then we have to play a couple Super Poly targets. 1 big purple dragon. Starving Venom Fusion Dragon requires 2 dark monsters on the field. It also is a Raigeki when it dies. Destroys all your opponent's special summon monsters. Isn't as powerful as Mirror Jade, but it helps clear boards with Super Poly. 1 Dragocepelia, because Dragocepelia is another negate. Requires a fusion monster, 1 dark monster. Your deck is all fusion monsters, so literally have at it. Puts a Predator counter on them too. And then 1 Guardian Chimera, because you can summon this with Branded in red and it pops cards. I've always only had 1 Guardian Chimera. You can play 2 if you'd like. But 1 actually works out for me. I've seen a lot of people play 2. But 1 is just fine, honestly. It's been working for me. I really have no complaints. Let you draw cards and pop cards. If you summon up, if you have Polymerization in the grave, you get to it can't be targeted. 3,300, really, really a good card. And then, lastly, I play one Albalentinus. This card is insane too. This is like a super poly on legs. If you're playing against any, this card will literally shit on any dragon deck. Literally, I'm not kidding. Because of its stupid summoning requirement, right? Okay, let me read this to you guys. It can't be used as fusion material, and its fusion material is one fellow and Albaz plus one or more dragon type monsters. Okay, so must either be fusion summoned by sending the above cards on the must be fusion summoned by sending the above materials listed on this card from either player's field to the graveyard, or can be summoned with Polymerization or whatever. So basically, you can contact fuse this thing, and it's a super poly. And what's really stupid, this card can also make a number of attacks equal number of fusion material used to summon it. So if your opponent has 5 dragons, you don't even need to activate Albaz's effect. You can literally just summon Albaz and just send them off. Just be like, kind of like Chimera Attack, Fortress Dragon. You know, it's so dumb. This will clear any board. Doesn't matter if your dragon's unaffected. It doesn't matter if it's unaffected or whatever. If it's a dragon, summon Albaz. You can even set Albaz and then just send everything, because you can use face down monster fusion material. It's stupid. This card is nuts. But during the end phase, when this card is sent, if the card was sent there, you can add one Polymerization spell or normal fusion spell from your deck to your hand. It's so dumb. There's a reason why this card has a $20 price tag on it. $20, $30 price tag. And then for the one final spicy card I was talking about that I mentioned, one Dark Dragoon. This is another Omni Negate. Again, use Hexial Fusion and Fallen Albaz, because Fallen Albaz is you treat the Fallen Albaz as a dragon type material. Dragoon will not get its pop like blowing up effect, but it will still be a negate and a 3,000 body that can't be targeted or destroyed by opponent's card effects. It's a threat. I play Dragoon for going first. Now, if you don't want to play Dragoon, there is another option. I interchange these two. It's not a 16 card extra deck. I know that's a 15 card extra deck, but interchangeably, I play Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon going second. Dragoon is usually for going first. Tyrant Dragon's going second because you can use the Hexial Fusion and use the same thing. And this is 3,400, and it can swing over all your opponent's monsters, and it lets you set a spell, or it lets you set a trap card from your deck. You don't play any trap cards, but you can still summon it because it's unaffected by trap cards. So you can interchange those two. So, and that's going to wrap up this deck profile, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this deck. This deck is absolutely insane. It is so freaking versatile. Like I said, I've been working on a branded, I've been picking up some of the Bestial stuff before it goes up in price, and I do kind of have the Bestial card, so I might spend a couple days trying to readjust it until the new support comes out in Photon Hypernova. Hopefully that should be in a couple of days, but we will see. I do have a ton of videos. I'm building up a ton of videos in my backlog right now. I will try to upload them, assuming that shit doesn't hit the fan or whatever. You guys know how life is. Anyway, as always, if you guys like the deck profile, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. You can even give me any advice how to help myself become a better Yu-Gi-Oh player. And feel free to check out some of my other videos on my deck profiles and stuff. And I will try to upload these whenever I can. Peace out, guys. Thanks for everything.